So I want to talk about some of the ways that we can do basic arithmetic operations using Microsoft Excel. So the first, the most basic thing you can do is add some numbers up. So if I wanted to add up the numbers in the first row here, I'm going to come over to cell F1. That's the one I'll put the total in, and just click on it. I'm going to type equals, which is how you tell Excel you're starting a formula. And to add these things up, I'm just going to click on them. I'm going to click on the first cell and type a plus, the second and a plus, the third, and the fourth, and hit enter, and I get the total. And that's a perfectly good way to do this. But if you've got a large number of cells that you want to add up, that gets pretty tedious pretty quickly. So Excel has a better way. It has a sum function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type equals sum, open parentheses, and I'm going to click on the cells in this first row. I clicked the mouse and held it down. I'm going to drag it over to the end of the row, close the parentheses, hit enter, and there's my total. All right, so that adds up the first row. Now suppose I want to add up all 5 of these rows. Well, I could type that formula over and over again, and that would work, but it's going to get pretty tedious pretty fast. An easier way to do this is just copy and paste. So I'm going to come up here, and you can click on the copy button up here in the toolbar. I type really fast, so I'm used to doing things from the keyboard. I usually do Control-C for copy, and you see how there's that little circling dotted line there to let me know that that's what I just did. I'm going to select the cells that I want this to go in, and I'm going to paste it. You can click on the paste button up here. The keyboard command for that is Control-V, and there are all my formulas. Now I want you to notice what Excel did, because this is a really cool feature. I copied this text, and it says add up A1 through D1. And then when it pasted down here, Excel said, okay, look, I know he doesn't want that same formula 5 times. That's would be kind of crazy. So it automatically updated the formula from A1D1 to A2D2 so that it's adding up the values in the second row, and then the third row, and the fourth row, and the fifth row, and we'll keep on doing this indefinitely. Okay, and that's a great feature. Really useful when you're copying formulas over and over into different cells. But sometimes you don't want it to do that. Sometimes you want it to leave something alone. For example, what if I wanted to take every one of these cells and multiply its value by some number that I put over here? Well, I could just say, look, just change this. I'm going to click up in here, or you can type F2, which will also get you into the formula. I'm going to type times, Shift 8, and I'm going to click on the cell over here with my 10. Okay, great. That worked. Right? That's 10 times 10. That's 100. Awesome. But if I copy this down, I'm going to do Control-C and then Control-V. Yeah, that didn't work. It's pretty clear what happened. Excel tried to update that L1 to L2 just like it updated the values from the A through D columns, and that wasn't what I wanted. There's no value over there in L2, and I don't want to put one there. I don't want to do this, have to enter the same number 5 times. So we can fix this. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to put a $ in front of the 1. A $, Excel interprets that as do not change that number no matter what. So now when I copy this down, you can do Control-C or the copy button. Another way you can do that, you notice there's just this little tiny box down here. If I hover over that, my cursor changes. I'm going to click and hold, drag it down, and that's what I wanted. Now the L1 stays the same in every column, in every formula. Okay, so what if, let me throw something else out here. What if I want to add up all the values in column A? Well, you could do this the way we've been doing this. I could do equals sum, select these values here, close parentheses, and enter, and okay, fine, that works. But sometimes you're going to have a situation where you don't know how many values you're going to have in advance. I mean, there's 5 right now. Maybe you send this spreadsheet off to someone, and they're going to want to add numbers under that and include those in the total. For example, if I added 21 down here, kind of continuing the pattern, the 45 didn't update because it stopped adding at row 5. Well, here's how we can make this even more flexible. I'm going to type equals sum, open parentheses. So far, it's just like I've done before. Then I'm going to click on the A up here. You notice that selects the entire column. And in the formula, there aren't any numbers. Instead of A1, A5, it's just A to A. That's Excel's way of saying add up the entire column. So now I get that flexibility that I wanted. If I add more data values here, the formula continues to update. And if you copy this, let me copy this and paste it over here to the right. You notice we get that same updating that we got when when the row was changing. This went from adding up column A to adding up column B. All right, so that's addition, and we talked about multiplication, right? With the shift 8, the asterisk. To do subtraction, you just use the minus. That's up at the top right-hand side of the keyboard. And to do division, you use the slash key. That's down on the bottom right-hand side of the keyboard. All right, so that is all for basic arithmetic operations. Let's add one more thing to our list: exponents. Right? What if I want to raise something to a power? Right. Well, if I wanted to say I wanted to square every one of these numbers, I would type equals F1, and I'm going to do Shift 6 to get it. It's called caret. Right? C-A-R-A-T. And I'll put a 2 here, and to check the result. 100 squared, that should be 10,000. Yeah, that's the value I get. Right? And I'm going to copy down just one at a time. You notice what it did here. The numbers got big. Right? The numbers got bigger than the 5 or 6 characters that can be displayed. So Excel tripped over to scientific notation. So that what it means there is 2 times 10 to the 5th, 3 times 10 to the 5th, and so on. Now, but that's not exact. 420 squared isn't 2 followed by 5 zeros. It's not 200,000. There should be more numbers in there. So what's happening is that there's just not room. Right? So Excel is kind of trying to do the best it can with the space that it has. Now, there are things we can do to fix that. Right? And that actually is what we're going to talk about in the next presentation. We're going to look at some of Excel's formatting options and see what we can do to change sizes, to change formatting, add dollar signs, commas, all that sort of thing.